Welcome to another episode where we spill the tea on all things flea. From wild vendor stories to incredible finds, we're bringing you the voices, treasures, and secrets of the flea market world. So grab a seat and let's dive in. This is you, me, and the flea.
Hey, Flea fam, welcome back to another episode of Uni and the Flea. Today we have Katie back. Katie! We didn't have to wait 2 years.
We didn't have to wait 2 years.
Sigh.
Guess I get more time on my calendar.
2 weeks. No, but thanks so much for coming back. Obviously, loved having you the first time around and have to pick your brain on more of your knowledge.
Well, I don't know. I'm getting up there in age. I don't know how much knowledge is
Oh my gosh,
there to
there's
be available.
wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom to share.
Then it's wisdom. It's not knowledge.
See?
Now it's wisdom. Oh, no.
I don't know. I feel like you're still projecting upward. Yeah, I think so. I think when you're like, in my opinion, I feel like when you're like close to retirement, then I feel like people start taking their foot off the gas. Yeah. You know what I mean? At least that's what I would personally.
So I'm still climbing up that roller coaster
You're on the roller coaster.
before it drops.
You're on the coaster. Stay in your
Working here is like
Stay in your seat. Yes. Stay in your seat, fasten your seat belt, and please don't make any sudden movements. We're like the American Eagle over here. We're just like
Rickety.
We both do the same exact. Raise your hand if you know what the American Eagle is. Hopefully you do. No, okay, but wanted to come back and kind of talk like some HR stuff and this whole like kind of buzzy term of betting on yourself. I love this.
Yeah, I came up. It's not a term I've come up with, but I
Oh my
use
God,
it.
if you did,
No, I
you would
did
not
not.
be here.
No, I wouldn't. But I use it a lot in the office. We talk about like making ourselves better for our coworkers to be able to work with each other.
For sure.
And I'm always saying I'm betting on myself because I'm going to new conferences or I'm like taking some sort of class. To me, that's betting on myself because I'm here. I'm in a stable job. But I'm if I could be a professional student, I would be a professional student. Yes, I love to learn. I love to learn a lot.
I do now. I feel like I always loved going to school, but now I think that when you find what you really love, like now, keep giving it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Before, when it was like broad and you were, kind of in this like college of like, oh, I have a little bit of every subject. It's like, like my attention wouldn't stick. But now I'm like, give me all the marketing. Hit me.
Well, that's
I
the
want to
thing.
know it all.
When you go to college, you're more focused on what you want.
For sure.
It's not like high school where you're forced to learn, social studies and science and math and everything. When you go to college, you get to learn what you want to learn.
Exactly.
If you want to take a psychology class over a sociology class, that's up to you. It's not up to your school.
Yeah. And I just love it too, like from a professional standpoint, because now you can even take that a step further, right? And it's like, oh, okay, so I love the study of human resources, but like now I want to study the psychology of groups and like that, like you can like even pick it even more, chisel away at that. And I feel like that is what I love, is what I'm saying. Because it's like, marketing is like social media. It's also like media. It's also, PR in a way. Like there's just so many different buckets of it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Okay, but like for folks that kind of don't know the term like betting on yourself or like what that means necessarily, like how can we break it down? I know I've like written down here like betting on yourselves means like essentially just like succeeding, right? And just like how you can get there. So like taking risks, backing your skills, choosing to invest in yourself. And I feel like this isn't just even like career wise, it can go with like your family, like incorporating it you as a person and as like a mom or as like a friend or as like, so many things. I feel if you enrich yourself and all this stuff, right?
Yeah. I have 2 children. So and not everybody knows everything.
Right.
And sometimes like you get stuck in this hole that you're like, how do I deal with this? How
Yeah.
do I deal with the way my daughter, comes home and, from certain places and talks to me? Like, how do I deal with speaking to her and
Yeah.
telling her that, it's not, I don't like that tone. And so and nobody really knows, to be honest with you.
No.
Everybody
Yeah.
thinks they do know, but nobody knows what the secret is
Oh,
behind
yeah.
being here. I think sometimes it's just throw something to the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have a good mom group, because we're speaking of children,
Yeah.
if you have a good mom group and they like kind of like can help you out a little bit, tell you, yeah, you're doing good, or maybe try it this way,
Mhm.
stuff like that. I feel that helps, you know, try to,
Softens it up a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I think it's interesting because obviously I don't have children, but I have, siblings, and we always talk about, how the same exact situation, right? Like the same scenario, and we have three different perspectives on it. And I recently just saw like this clip that was like, well, no parent is the same. Like, you're not parenting the same to any of your kid, because it's like each kid has a different personality. Number one, they receive information and critiques and things differently, right? So it's like, and then, when you're a 30, or like, for example, my older sister had a 19-year-old mom. I don't know what that's like. My mom was 36 when she had, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like later when she had me. So it's like, I didn't have that. I don't know what my mom was like at 19, and I never will.
right.
And my sister will never know what it's like to have a 29-year-old mom, right?
Yeah.
So it's like so interesting. But anyways, not to mom, because
Oh,
where have we turned? Well, I
went
think,
off the subject a
yeah,
little bit, but
I think
we'll,
just
we'll
like
pull it back.
driving it, like, and pulling it back a bit, is just kind of one of those things where I think as long as you're like confident in yourself, know like what you need to do and who you are, and just like consistently water that, if that makes sense. I feel like that's what betting on yourself to me means. It's like just constantly nourishing and making sure that like Christina's good, so
Right.
that I can bet on myself, if you will, in all aspects of my life. And I think like that's right.
Yes.
I'm like crazy about
Well,
that.
and like I said, one of the
Right.
good things to have is to have a good circle around you also. So if you want to bet on yourself, you have a husband and he, you're like, I want to do this, and your husband's like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like if you bet on yourself and you go and do it anyway, is it going to come back and bite you if it fails?
Right.
Like I told you so. When you know,
Yeah, but I feel like that's such a good point, because to me, when you say like, let's just do it, it's not even that like, hey, I think we're going to be like 100% successful at this. I feel like you're also saying, hey, if we don't succeed, we'll be okay too. You
that's
know
what
what
I
I
said.
mean? Yeah,
Have a good,
exactly. Like you'll
tolerance
just
with each other.
totally, like, you're just like, we're going to take this step, and regardless of the outcome, we're gonna be fine. And I love this, especially like from your seat, from like an HR perspective, because obviously we have three different flea markets, three different personalities at each one, right? Like in terms of how they operate and their
I deal with
dynamic.
4 though.
Oh, four. Yes, I'm sorry. Totally.
A lot of people
Um,
don't know about Webster, but I know
we keep
about
forgetting.
Webster.
Don't forget about
Don't
Webster.
forget about Webster. I deal with them a lot more than I deal with
Oh no,
other
we don't
3.
here too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with that being said, that's a whole different state. That's whole different like, guidelines and rules and things like that. And
Whole
people.
different set of people too.
Mhm.
Every market has their own different set of personalities. When we deal with Webster, we deal with people from Central Florida, you know, people who are retired, the older baby boomers. When we
Right.
deal with more of the employees up here, we're dealing with more Gen Z, millennials that we deal with up here. We do have the Gen Xers and the baby boomers in all aspects of our business,
course.
but predominantly up here we are Gen Z millennials in the Chicago area who work on our markets, and in Florida, it's a complete drastic change.
Yeah.
They're all boomers down there.
Yeah.
It was funny because one time I was doing doing see the percentage of different generation for
The age demos.
yes, and it was 98% baby boomers and we had 1% millennial.
Really? Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, just because like the flow of the markets are different. So, for example, like it makes sense to me that Webster is like that because it is a slower paced, antique style market. We're here. The markets are very fast paced. They're very they're busy.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying I'm not age discriminating here by any means, but I'm just saying that sometimes you need more manpower and maybe multiple younger folks I mean, we have people that work here on the weekends in addition to other jobs too, right? So that's a good dynamic, and we need kind of that versatility, I think, here because your road's different.
It does.
So
When you have the younger people up here, they're able to do a lot. If you said not to age discriminate, but they're able to do a lot, like work Monday through Friday and also come in at the weekend.
yeah,
People of my generation, they're kind of like, all right, I'm already in my career and I like to work my 5 days a week because I work that kind of schedule. And now
I
I'm
put in that
set.
time.
I put in my time. My dad used to say that. I don't have to work overtime anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where most of the people my age are. We're in our careers now and we don't want to work weekends.
Right.
And
Exactly.
most people who do work at the markets on the weekend do have families that, that they're trying to support.
Of course. Or, not for nothing. It's you take on some entry because I know I'm just saying that from my experience, working in a restaurant, it's I took the hostess position and worked a year in it and then went to, the to go orders and then the back of the house and then a server. It took a while for me to climb the ladder and I put in the time, right? And I took the time to learn and teach myself and all these things. And so I just know from, I can't imagine being 55 in the same company doing that, working so hard all those years and being like, oh, wait, you want me to do that again?
Yeah.
I can't physically, I can't. Right. But it's just, it's a lot. So I totally get it. But I guess let's talk about doing this kind of concept of betting on yourself from market perspectives and maybe from employee perspectives. What are maybe some tips you have?
Well, from a employee perspective, when you're betting on yourself, I feel that most of our employees, when they do bet on themselves, they're more of showing that they have the capacity to be able to do more than could be given them.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell somebody, hey, we need somebody here, or one of the managers tells an employee, hey, I need somebody over there, they're like, I got you. All right, I'll do that for you. That to me is betting on yourself. You're showing your supervisors that you're reliable, right? Which is part of betting on yourself, right? You're showing that you have reliability. Another thing is some of our employees have gone on to go to school, right? So to me, education, giving yourself some education is betting on yourself. Any sort of education whatsoever, I believe, is completely betting on yourself. I know that sometimes people cannot afford to go to school,
Sure.
but
It's not for everyone.
it's not for everyone. But there are trade schools. Our National Flea Market Association had some sort of management program that they were setting up. So it's not necessarily like going to college and going to a 4-year college. I mean, there are opportunities out there to be able to go to trade schools or to be able to get a certificate in some sort of
trade
or management in an industry.
Mm-hmm.
Some other things would be
Well, sticking with that, I think it's interesting because sorry, like when it comes to like a lot of these things, I feel like, the education part or like taking on more responsibility, it's also just showing like that you're able to like multitask and balance all these situations. It's not easy to take classes or, if somebody's like a parent and working and you know what I mean? Like balancing all of these things aren't easy.
No.
It's definitely not. It's showing time management. It's showing all of these, to me, like really core like values that I'm looking for in an employee, you're right, or a team member, like
Yeah.
we're only as strong as our weakest link sometimes. And so like if I see, especially underneath me, see someone who, maybe I don't want to say underneath me because that no one is, but I'm just saying like, you see somebody who's like maybe newer to the Swap-O-Rama team, is taking on all these challenges and they're coming in and they're just like, whoa, like, busting through the walls and like wanting to do more and taking on more challenges and, being friendlier and all of these things. That just takes a little fire to me and goes, like, because I'm just like, whoa, sometimes you forget that. You forget that about yourself. And that, I don't think you realize how that can like complement or feed off to someone else. So I think, as much as sometimes you think you're doing something better for yourself, you actually are helping other people around you without even knowing it sometimes,
Yeah. A lot of people do that. They help each other. I noticed that our employees do help each other.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And they're very supportive of each other, though, like endeavors too, I think. So,
Yes. And it's funny because when they come in, they, a lot of our people don't know each other.
yeah.
But after a few weeks, they're all going out together. They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
dinners
Oh, yeah.
together. They're meeting each other's families. So
I love it.
it becomes a whole like
Like, can I
family.
go?
Yeah. It becomes a whole family environment to
Totally.
be able to go to a job every day that, you like the coworkers you work with. Because there's a lot of places out there that people work and they complain about their coworkers. And I'm not saying that we don't have that because I think that's every force. But for the most part, I think that like a lot of our employees do belong with each other.
I agree. Okay, let's lead into some questions here on this concept, sticking with it. So, first one, if you had $500 to invest in yourself, what do you think you would do with it?
Well, since I said I'm huge into education.
I was gonna say, I'm like waiting for you to say, where are you going? Classes.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say I like to go to the SHRM conference every year. Even
What
if
is
it's
SHRM for?
it's Society of Human Resource Management.
Okay.
It's a national human resource group that I'm a part of. I'm a member of. And I like to go there every year, even if I don't get to go to the actual location. You can stream it. Yeah. So I've streamed it before. I've sat in my house for 4 days, going between each,
Yeah.
program. And the good thing about the streaming was that even if I missed something, I was able to go back and watch somebody that maybe I missed, and they make it there's a variety too, right? So there's like comedians, and then there's actual people in the business, and there's people who are not like human resources, but they have like, some they could touch on human resource, different human resource aspects.
Yeah, maybe like a concept like this that goes like hand in hand or something.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've come away with some ideas from that I bring to our
To your
team.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
And when we sit down, we talk about it. Sometimes I come in and I oh my God, I can't this.
I should redo this whole thing.
Everybody's
You like clean your desk and you're like,
and then that's working. and then Christina and Justin's like, okay.
We are going to need a script of what you saw, a diagram of everything that you said, please.
I think after last year, I bought a whiteboard, a rolling whiteboard that I've been rolling around the office.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, bring it on.
Christina's like, I don't know what you're doing, but
I like it.
I love it.
Well, at the last office I was at, we literally had a room that was called the post-it room, and it was nothing but piles of post-its everywhere and pens, and people would just go in there and think and just write like ideas down and just like move things around. It was so cool to see how people thought like that. I loved it. So I understand all of those like whiteboards. I love that.
Yeah.
But no, I think the education part is super fun. We did like a leadership one together as a team that I loved personally. I love like, give me like the rah motivation to
Oh,
like
that was
get
rah rah. I was like, I'm like, yeah. The music was uplifting. Like some
Yeah.
of the speakers were like great, and some of the speakers, I'm like, I seen that guy on TV.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
exciting.
love my job. Like I left there like so invigorated. So yeah, like sometimes that's all it takes. But I mean, sometimes like I know it sounds dumb, but sometimes like even just like uh, I'm thinking about what I would do with the 500, and I'm thinking like I would do something to like boost me in a little way. Like sometimes you just need a little treat, like whether it's like a good meal or like something like, even like here when we do like a donut like Friday someday or like pizza on a Friday, like as a team, it's like sometimes you just need a little something to just be like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Like high five,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, like sometimes that does it for me. So I would do something like that. And then, yeah, I love like the education part or even just like freshening up like some of the stuff that you have, as dumb as it sounds, right? Like getting a new notebook for your ideas, getting like something to get you like re-inspired. Like that just always helps me, Man, if you need a good hoodie to go home to, like get it, like I think that could do it too, Okay. Do you think it's scarier failing after you bet on yourself or not trying at all?
Scarier.
Yeah.
I think scarier would be failing after.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because if I
How?
don't think like if I didn't try at all, then you're not thinking of it.
Yeah.
But now you're in it. Like, I had a project once and I said, yeah, I'm all in. And I got in there and I'm like, yeah, I could do it. I got it. I could do it. And the next day I woke up and I'm like, so I was already scared that I was going to fail. I didn't fail, but I was already scared. So I understand that. But if I didn't try, then it's just out of my head. I'm not thinking about it.
I'm like big on the not trying at all. I feel like for me that's scarier because I live there a lot. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean that like in a negative way, but it's just like there's so many times where I'm just like, man, that's a good idea. But if I do it, I don't, like you're saying, I don't have the capacity or whatever. And I'd rather not do it than fail because I don't have the time to do it. And I know we're talking about it like on a work level, but even like personally, sometimes it's like, man, example, I want to be a better friend, but like, I'm just going to say in this, like, I suck as a friend, a little bucket because I can't give fully to whoever it is. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just really interesting, but and once like I feel like I'm at my best and my best, then for sure we're getting in there. We're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
That's just
That's
hopefully
confident.
that's hopefully
That's not confidence.
We do a lot of these around here. Okay. How do you see maybe from like a vendor perspective? So like
So I'm
betting
a
on
vendor.
you're a vendor.
Okay.
How do you bet on yourself every weekend?
Showing up.
Showing up.
That's how
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
I agree.
Showing up. If you don't show up, then
You'll never know.
you'll never know.
Yeah.
It's I didn't try to bet on myself.
Yeah.
Right. So if I show up every weekend, I'm there, I'm out there selling my stuff is looking good.
Yeah.
Like I'm engaging with the visitors that are coming through. I'm networking with the people next to me. Then I'm betting on myself. I'm in it to win it, basically. If I don't show up, then I can't complain that I didn't make it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I love that so much because I feel like so many times, like even in like let's say bad weather or, yeah, mostly bad weather. Like all the folks that are like, I'm not going to go out there today. The folks that do show up kill it, right?
Yes.
Like, it's like the ones that like are like, you know what? I don't want to, but I'm going to do this. I need to show up for my family. I need to like whatever. I'm not doing anything. Like, let me just go. And then you see, like, I just think of for example, our pop up in Piatone that we had a few years ago. And I just remember everyone coming out of there with something, like
Yeah.
bags and bags and plants and like these brooms. I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
And I'm thinking
yeah.
to myself, like,
Rooms and mop.
ever that seller is, kills it every single time here.
And it's so funny because we, when we did Piatone, there was a lot of complaints that there wasn't a lot of vendors, but the vendors that were there,
They loved it.
they
I
were killing
know.
it. They're like, we
Yeah.
make money every
I know. I
time
know.
we're here.
I know.
You're
Talk
right,
about
right.
betting on yourself
Yeah.
for like a market that doesn't have like anything. I mean, it was like a new concept. It wasn't like it
Yeah.
was like our Alsip Location where you're like, it didn't have like a history or like a pulse yet. And these people really took a bet and gambled.
Yeah. Well, and to
So-
think about it, our company betted on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We bet on our name to try to come down there and
Totally.
in Piatone, which is my area. And
Shout out Sasa.
shout out Southside. But anyway, yeah. So we bet on ourselves to bring our market to Will County,
Yeah.
and it lasted 5 years, and it felt like the same 40 vendors came every month,
time. Yeah.
and it ended up dying down, but at least we tried.
Right. Definitely. I agree. You have to try.
You have to try.
Can you think of a company, maybe off the top of your head, that you think like really went for it and kind of bet on themselves, like a success story? Trying to think of one too, but I feel
Like a
any-
major company,
yeah,
like
really-
Amazon would be the
that's a
good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I remember buying from Amazon. It was only books back in the day,
Isn't that crazy.
and that's what I always liked going to. My uncle would say, "Oh, go buy this book," and I'm like, "Well, where can I get it from? It's not at Barnes and Noble or on Borders." And he said, "Go to Amazon. Amazon has all the books." And that was my first
So
introduction to
insane.
Amazon.
Yeah.
And now Amazon sells everything. You could get a casket from Amazon. And I'm not saying go get your casket from Amazon, but you could if you wanted to.
You could- pretty soon you could buy
You could buy a house on Amazon, and I'm not even kidding you. They had my daughter sent me this thing. It said,
Oh my God.
"Mom, look, you could buy a house on Amazon," and it was like $12,000. It was an actual frame of a house with the siding and everything. Didn't have electric or anything. It had, like where you could
A
put the
she
electric
shed.
in. It was basically like a she shed,
Wow.
but it was a house. It said it was labeled as a house, and I'm like,
Wow.
wow. All right, Amazon.
Pretty soon you're gonna be buying kittens on Amazon.
Wow.
Give them a few years.
I don't know about that.
you watch, Katie. You're gonna be like a toe.
Yeah, Christina, guess
You're
what? I found today.
Under Amazon Pharmacy. No, yeah, it's insane. All of those are any of the startup companies. Remember speaking of the event that we went to, the leadership thing that we went to.
Yeah.
Remember the story of, I don't know if you were there. The first story that was there was Vito Coco, the coconut water company.
Oh, I wasn't there for that.
Okay. Well, he was basically saying he had gone through so many marketing tactics to try to build up his business to where he would dress up as the coconut water and enter a marathon and just run in the uniform, in the costume. So people would be like, "What's that?" And they'd be like, "It's coconut water."
Yeah.
So many things. Or he just did jump through every single hoop. And the whole point of that was obviously he didn't want to do any of that. Obviously, whatever, but here's somebody who believes in something so much that they will go through any hoop to get it. You know what I mean? And I
Talk about betting on
Man,
yourself.
seriously.
Running in marathons in a hot suit.
In a hot suit as a coconut water box.
Yeah.
Literally. And he ended up, I mean, now he's like part owner of the company, but it's like crazy. They ended up getting like Matt Damon for like a commercial, and that's where it kind of like merged, like Coca-Cola bought it and whatever. So cool success story. But yeah, so many stories like that where I'm just like, never, or anyone on Shark Tank for that matter. I'm like, that's my jam. I'm like locked in. I'm like, all right, go. 20 seconds to sell something, you know? Okay, from an HR perspective, how do you identify employees who are betting on themselves at work?
Like I said, they're usually people who, you know what, they're usually people who will come to me when I'm there at the location. They'll come
Okay.
up to me and they'll say, "Hey, Katie, you know, I had this idea for like the market or for like, you know, can we do
Yeah.
this? Yeah, can we do this for the vendors? Or maybe we should do this for the visitors. Maybe we should have, you know, have this gate open and this gate closed. You know, the people who usually bet on themselves, and Christina could attest to this, usually will find you when we're at the market
Mm,
and they'll say, "Hey, you know, I got an idea, you know, will you listen to me?" And we always listen.
right.
And what we do is we bring it to our table and we talk about it. And some of them are good and some of them are not,
Mhm.
you know, but that shows that like they're dedicated to the company. They're trying to move up. They're betting on themselves. They're betting that, hey, if I tell them, maybe they'll know that I have ideas too to bring to the table. It's not just like the market managers or, you know, the supervisors, you
Right.
know, I have ideas too.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that's a great point. And I think that's all it has to be sometimes. It doesn't have to be, you know, the person that outshines and whatever. Like sometimes it can genuinely be, you know, because you think about yourself in like a leadership seat and it's like, I'm constantly thinking, oh, like bettering the brand, right? And I think a lot of us here in upper leadership roles, that's what we're always doing. That's what, you know, in each of our positions, that's what we're here for. That's, you know, that's what we're hired for.
Yes.
So when you think about somebody like on an entry or, you know, or a mid-level position, and then they're coming with those ideas, it's like, man, that is so cool that you care that much to like,
Yeah.
you know, bring something forward. I love that. All right. What advice would you give someone who like wants to grow their career, but maybe is afraid?
To do it.
You could take the lead.
Take the lead.
Take it.
Take it.
Yeah.
You can't not take the lead, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you'll be sitting there, why didn't I do it? I'm still stuck here. I'm 50
It'll
years
eat at
old.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 50 years old. I'm still tearing tickets at the front of Swap-O-Rama. You know, if you don't take
Unless
that
you
lead,
like it.
I mean, I'm not knocking that, but you know, if you don't take the lead, you'll never. And then it goes back to you saying that, you know, would you rather, are you too scared to know if you didn't do it? Or
Yeah.
if are you scared or if do it and fail? So yeah, if you don't do it, you know, I mean, I'm one of those that, you know, I bet on myself too many times, put myself into predicament. But
Yeah.
you know, I for our place, like I said, they're Gen Z and millennials. I'm always like, you know, bet on yourself. If you have to leave Swap-O-Rama, we don't like to see people leave. We don't have a huge turnover here. But I understand that it's better for you
Right.
in your psyche that you pursue.
Totally. You know, I think the immediate thing that comes with this is always kind of like what we mentioned earlier was like, you know, the extrovert versus the introvert. It's like you always think that the person that gets ahead is going to be the like loud in your face, like outgoing one that, you know, is this go getter and the grinder. Cause, you know, you're thinking about, I'm like, you think of like Wolf of Wall Street. It's like, yeah, like people like that get what they want because they like claw their way at the top. And sometimes I feel like it's the silent killers that, you know, make moves too. It just like is in their own dynamic way. And I feel like when I like reading this and like thinking about it, it's like I feel like a lot of times it's the quieter folks that maybe are like having a harder time like taking that leap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though they're probably way more prepared, probably have like things like, you know, because introverts think differently too. So it's like, you know, they're planning things differently. They might have like something completely like mapped out and like ready to go, like a game plan where I'm like, yeah, I want it. Like I'm going for it. And it's like, ugh,
And
like,
sometimes the people who are more outgoing, when they jump into it with no plan.
yeah, exactly.
They jump into it, no
You're
plan.
at the end of a cliff and you're
yeah.
like, great, now what? You know, and so I can see that. I can see where, you know, it's a little harder. I think too, like, especially at Swap, like, you know, we've brought up like younger generations. I think too, younger generations, they don't have like as many examples sometimes, like, you know, as what to follow or whatever. Like, let's be honest, a lot of companies like have gotten rid of like kind of like this middle management tier sometimes just to like save costs and whatever. So it's like there's either like the big bosses and then the little guys and a lot of times. And so it's hard to like think as an employee, like, what is my journey look like? Do I have like, if I say something about like an idea that I have or, you know, wanting more from my job, are they going to laugh at me or like, am I creating something, you know, for myself, creating like a path?
Yeah. And that's why I say, like, that's why when somebody does come to me and say, I got an idea,
No
you
idea
know,
is bad. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like, okay. And then I do sit and I listen and let them talk. And I say, okay, well, I'll bring it to the management team and we'll go through it and we'll see if it's feasible.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's not, you know.
Right. Oh, it's great. Do you think betting on yourself is more confidence or strategy?
Confidence for sure.
You think so?
Yes. I mean, you can't have strategy without confidence, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're the person who jumps in with no strategic plan.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
I feel like this is coming up to one of our favorite shows that you got me to Traders. where
Oh,
it's-
Traders.
Shout out to Traders. No, but I feel like it's so interesting because it's obvious, right? Where it's like the people that you think are like the confident, outgoing, cool ones. Oh, they have to be the killers.
Right, exactly.
But
It's
it's not.
It's always the one
It's always-
silent in the background, silent killer.
See, in that situation, though, I feel like it is strategy sometimes. So that's where I'm like, man, is it strategy? Like, or is it just like this good balance of like a little bit of confidence, a little bit of strategy? Because
Balance for sure.
yeah, because I know, like, I know I come off as like a typically outgoing person. I definitely, me personally, sorry, I think I'm like a little bit of like 50-50, maybe 60-40. I do got like a pretty big introverted side. But when it comes to something, and especially if I'm like passionate about it, I'm like, you know, I do have like some notes on it or like a plan. I'm going in guns blazing. So if I have like,
Look out, world.
if the
Just saying, Christina
Oh.
coming. Let's blaze it. I'm just saying.
move over whiteboard. I got my
You got your whiteboard.
on the whiteboard. I'm like, this plan sucks. Here's mine. Give me that red book. Oh my gosh, I would. But maybe I'd be like, well, guys. No, but anyways, so I think there's like a good mix. Like I feel like you're even more of a powerhouse if you have a little bit of both. What else? But you're a little confident. Okay. Do you think, have you ever regretted betting on yourself? I know we've said like forms of this, but honestly.
I mean, sometimes I think betting on yourself can make you a little cocky.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say, like, have you shot yourself in the foot?
I have. I ain't gonna lie.
Who hasn't?
I mean, you here's the thing. If you bet on yourself and it keeps good, and you're like,
Just
yeah,
wanna have a
every
good
time I bet on myself, and I'm at 100%, and you get a little cocky.
Man,
then
I
you
got
get
a
knocked
raise,
out.
they like me, I got a pat on the back, I'm going to dinner.
can't get knocked down. You know what I mean?
I know.
So sometimes, depending on, I mean, when you get knocked down, when you get a little too cocky,
Yeah.
it brings you back down to earth. You know what I mean? But I put myself in this predicament. I'm having 3 titles because I bet on myself from day one. You know, I was told sometimes, so you need to brown nose a little bit. That's not my forte.
Yeah.
I am not a brown noser.
Yeah.
I feel that my work for the type of person I am. So through the years, people have seen what I can do.
Yeah.
I always put this back to in high school. I was voted most helpful. It has not gone away.
Yeah. No, that's
Hence, I
good.
am on a podcast second time.
You're so helpful. Thanks so much.
But no, every time somebody came up with an idea, they're like, who are we going to get to do this? I'm like, well, you know, I can help out with that. You know, I remember the time I was just assistant controller at the time, and we got our audit back, and it said that we needed to get a human resource. We need to even outsource it or to hire someone.
Right.
And I said, hey, I can do human resource. I already do
What a
majority of it.
That's like insane. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm already doing a majority of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. Why don't you just let me, you know? And they said, okay. So they sent me to classes, of course, more education. Sent me to class. So it's like I bet on myself. I bet telling them that I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm showing them that I can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
So, and then came like more projects and stuff. Like I say, hey, you know, we have a project. Hey, I can do that. Or I can work with the team that's doing that.
Yeah.
And so those are things like betting on myself. And 9 times out of 10, when I know in my heart that it's gonna be fine, I will, you know, just jump into it.
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes I will go, I don't know if I can do this. And my husband will be like, Katie, you have all the skills and tools and, you know, everything to do it. So you're fine.
Yeah.
It's just you.
Yeah.
You know, that's just my personality. Sometimes it's to take a step and say, so I want to really work on that right now.
Totally. Look, I mean, if I'm gonna answer this, I feel like I definitely have. Maybe not so much regretted it, but like felt defeated by it. You know what I mean? It's not for the weak. Like I feel like if it's something that you're like super confident in and you've like almost like trained your whole life for, you know what I mean? Then yeah, like I'm gonna go in and I know like I'm gonna do my best and I'm probably gonna do well, whatever the case is, whether it's like work, personal, whatever. I don't know, but then there's certain things like where I'm like, I'm not super good at it. I'm not confident at it. You take the leap, you fail, and then you're like, now what? And I'm just like, you know, you can only dust yourself off so many times sometimes, you know, and I'm even coming from it as a dating perspective, like, to be honest, like that's a part where I'm just like, man, like how many times can you just get knocked down and down and down or like discouraged and whatever? And obviously you keep putting your best foot forward on yourself, but it does take a toll on you sometimes. And it's like, whoa, like, yeah, the failure of it does suck.
Isn't that the ultimate betting on yourself,
Man, it really
It's
is.
a dating life.
Because it's like, this is me. You don't like me. Like, yeah, it could really like hurt, you know, from like a work perspective. Like, it's a little bit different because you train yourself, you educate yourself, you do all these things to make yourself better. At dating, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
If you don't like how I cook and clean, like, I don't know what to do, you know, like, obviously, like, on to the next, but talk about, like, a situation where it's, like, very much so, like, black and white in that situation, you know? And you really have to put yourself out there. So, anyways, I feel like I said, in certain things, I ain't the best, but you got to try, everybody.
That's what I always say.
You know?
You try, you fail, and you try, and you succeed.
Yeah.
That's what life is. And then you learn from those failures.
Yeah, definitely.
And what not to do next time.
Yeah, but I love this. I think it's really cool, especially from like, an HR perspective to hear something like this. Because you want people to not be fearful and to try and to, encourage them to like grow. And like there you shouldn't be complacent no matter what your position is. Like,
And this goes from somebody who's been here for 20 some years,
yeah.
right? I mean, there's been times during my tenure that, yeah, if I probably wanted to go somewhere else or thought I can do better somewhere else, yeah, I take the leap? No, I did.
Right.
And sometimes I mean, do you regret maybe not going at my current? No, like where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think maybe I did, like, I didn't go
Yeah.
there. What could have life been like if I don't go there? But I can't like sit on that. I have to say I stayed here for a reason. And the
Yeah.
reasons were apparent to me throughout the years.
Well, and this is a perfect example of like, because I've been there too, where it's like you juggle like, do I leave for a shiny new thing or do I bet on myself in this current one and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want, this is like a path I want to take, this is like blah 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 blah. Because obviously, like these are the things that you want in both scenarios, and it's like I still think you took a bet in this way, right? Like it's like either way you were taking a bet on yourself, whether you were going right or left. And so I think it's like just really cool just in general how people do that. You know what I mean? And now you're in a happier spot, it is different and it is whatever. And let's just be real, it's hard work. Once you get into this,
This is hard work.
you don't stop. You know what I mean? I look at some of these people and it's like same thing with like real estate or whatever. It's like, great, you sold one, you got to keep going. Like it never ends. Like we said with the vendors, consistency, and we can't stop betting on ourselves, making ourselves better,
Exactly.
people. We
Yeah.
got this. All right.
I'm going to continue betting on myself for my next couple projects. So
And on that note, we're gonna go. We're gonna go find that whiteboard and use the other side to create some chaos around it. We're gonna dive deep in it, but no, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you coming back.
no problem.
We'll see you in a couple weeks. Right, guys? Like, give a comment below on what we should talk about next.
Yeah, I guess I'll come back if there's something that, people want.
Pressing.
Yeah, if you want me to come back, I
Oh,
guess
yeah.
I'll come back. If
All right, listen, you have to go to your next conference and then you have to come back with some
my
topics.
whiteboard.
Mhm. Yes, we will bring out the whiteboard and we will go through the whiteboard and everyone just dissect the whiteboard. No, but thank you so much. All right, y'all. Make sure, as always, to like, comment, subscribe, share all the things. I will see you here next week.